Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the morning brief, Friday, June 5th. Jobs number, right? So we'll see how it plays out, but we could be set up, honestly, with the big news out of Europe yesterday, things settling down in Asia, and our jobs number today. This could be literally a rip your face off Friday move in the market, but we shall see. Sometimes there can be other things that affect it, but so far so good, right? Okay, there's the welcome to the overview here. Make sure you use this call sign for the one person that logged in without it. We changed it to Phantom. So if you see yourself showing up as Phantom, then that's who you are. Okay, we're still at 4. So remember, this is the last day of the free trials for everybody. So I see a few folks in there, 2 of which I've already won the daily day trading challenge and have free months coming. But you have to sign up for at least 1 month to be able to get your free month. So basically you pay for 1, you get 2. It's only 25 bucks. I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. Okay, and you should, for your setup, you should have both the chat and the Q&A windows open in addition to the big screen. If you keep them closed, you will see little red numbers pop up at the bottom, and you can click on it to see what everybody's talking about. But and then on Q&A, or for both of them, you should have all panelists and attendees, just so you can see everything that's going on in the chat rooms. Okay, standard 3 objectives for our tactical objectives today. We're going to talk about private equity investing. There's a reason, there's a time when you're ready for that, and there's a time, and there's downsides to it too. But really, when you look at once you have a certain amount in the overall stock market, you can go off into private equity, and it's very lucrative returns in there. And then, of course, build wealth incrementally over time. Again, same topic there. Okay, standard flow, we'll go around the world, we'll hit the headlines. Here's the 6 names we're going to talk about this morning. The first 5 are private equity names, and then the last one is the private equity index fund, is the PEX. So easy to remember, appropriately named. As soon as we get within 10 minutes of the market open, we will have our standard daily challenge. Apex Predator is on a 2-day win streak, so all of us need to make sure that doesn't happen again. And but good luck, Predator. I mean it. And then we'll get through the market open. Then we're going to transition to question and answer. Again, I want to hear your questions, but I do have 3 of them pre-populated over there that I'm going to talk to. I'm also going to take you over to the Blackstone website so you can see how private equity investors invest, because it is differently than logging into your app and snapping up some shares, right? If you're having any tech issues, come up on tech support at steve@otot.now. All right, going to share out, give you an OTOT website update. So first of all, this is the standard OTOT Now website, and went live with episode 1 last night. So if you haven't seen that, you can grab it here. It's not out on iTunes yet, but I'm going to release basically 1 episode a day for the next week or so, and then Apple has to approve me to get out on iTunes. So if you like to listen to podcasts like you're driving or working or whatever, you'll have that available to you. The other thing I wanted to show you is for the winners, we're going to take the winners and put them on the front page so you all can see your name and lights, because who doesn't like that? But here are our daily winners buried in several pages back. Right now, we've had Burner, Geach, Ace, Apex Predator 2 days in a row. I see every single one of those people in the room this morning. So let's see if we can get a new name up there for the few folks that are in. It's always interesting. There's more people on Friday than any other day of the week. Kind of crazy. Okay, last thing I want to show you. So you land on the home page. For the folks in the room that haven't signed up that want to do so today, you simply go to ototnow.com. You click Join a Squadron. You can be on the cutting edge way to receive investor education, which is live in the morning with me. You're going to go down here for the morning flight brief, 25 bucks a month for the early adopters. Click on Sign Up Today. That's going to lead you to this page, which is a bunch of stuff. You're looking for the yellow jets. Your 1 month sign up for $25 is right here. You click that, takes you over to a shopping cart, and you are in. All right. Also, wanted to show you this. As far as the folks that are already, the 4 of you that have already paid, you're going to get an overview of the rules. This will be hanging on the website as well. It's not really a contract. It's just expectations. But the reason I want to bring it up this morning, all of this you kind of know already because everybody's been here at least once. It's kind of what the expectations are. Somebody did ask last night, Sunday afternoon for the membership is when the Zoom info is going to go out. So that's what you can expect, is to get an email there. We may go to a text list. I don't know. We'll see. Right now it's email, but blah, blah, blah. That's the standard stuff we do every day. Squadron specifics. Here's what I'll tell you, the referral program. Once you're a current member, if you bring somebody on and they sign it, you're going to get credit. So if because my goal is not to make money right away, that'll happen over time, and because I know this product has value, but it's to fill the room. And the early adopters, if you are here early, if you get somebody else to sign up, say they sign up for 6 months, well, you also get 6 months tacked on to your contract. Or you can get a monetary payout equal to 1/2 the amount paid. So if they zoom in like that unintentionally, then you can get the basically a monetary payout equal to half. So if they put in $450 for the 2-year membership, you get 2 1/4 refunded back to you. So all in all, I think that's a pretty good deal. So that is what you can expect. We'll waitlist people when we need to. And that's, if you have any questions about that, yes, maybe autograph picture. I don't know. I'll probably have to list that and charge you $5. I'm kidding. Okay, over to, let's get into the market. So you see the big banner headline there, 650 points up. Market was already up anyway. Largely that's a carryover from Asia and Europe, which is what you'll see now as we go around the world. Okay, what was the big news yesterday in the European Union? Again, 1.35 trillion euros was their stimulus package they came out with. That's about 1.5 trillion in US dollars. So a lot of stimulus, a lot of good news. They aren't dealing with the social unrest like we are. So their market screamed higher, as I talked about yesterday, that they likely will. So pretty good moves across the board. Over in Asia, again, the Hong Kong situation's kind of no factor anymore. So we'll need to find a new headline. And they put this in here as well. If you looked at the airline stocks, those have really taken off. See what I did there? Mostly because of the economy opening back up and the air traffic around the world. So we shall see. Over in the US, this was yesterday's number. We were up a little bit in the Dow, but down in the red in the S&P and NASDAQ. Of note, though, the VIX, again, 30 is where the, kind of below 30 is when things look normal, and that's where we are today. So that's good. All right. In the bond world, look at this. So we've been talking about bonds every day, and it's been down around that 0.7275%. And look, it jumped up to 0.92%. And so big move up there. That's good. That's stabilizing. I like it. So great news. Other great news of things stabilizing is a nice jump in oil. OPEC they're talking about supply cuts and making sure everything's good to go there. So 40 to 60 is kind of that normal range. So really, when you're looking at all the metrics across the board, they're good, except for, of course, if everything is good, then gold and silver are going to get hit. So they're down as well. But that is what we have going across the world. So pretty good numbers. Okay. The jobs number, it is disappeared. So 13%, we had a 19.9% unemployment rate expected. Let me just scroll down here and make sure I hit it exactly. You'd think that'd still be up there as the number one. So think about this. So if you remember back to COVID, when it came out, boom, markets crashed, all that happened, and they're talking 30% unemployment. And if you watch my videos from my other venture, you've heard me say, if anything less than 30 is now going to be considered good news, which is kind of weird, but it is, because if you think 30% unemployment and 100,000 deaths, we did hit the 100,000 deaths, but it didn't scream up to that number. It got there eventually, but slowly. But as far as the unemployment, to think that we're already back down to 13.5, as bad as it was, that is just great news across the board. And again, that's spilling over into all kinds of sectors. Okay, here's the 10-year treasury yield surging above 0.9%. It's ridiculous that it's down this low, but honestly, it is a surge because that's a huge move in a couple days. So that's fantastic. Here's an interesting thing that you've heard me talk about, and especially those that work with me in another way, is Kramer's talking about the greatest, the wealth transfer in history. Every time this happens, every time the market gets hit, it is a wealth transfer from the impatient to the patient, from the financially unsavvy, is that a word? Financially not so savvy to the financially savvy. It happens every single time. If you stay the course and you buy when stocks are ridiculously cheap, the rich get richer, if you will, and the folks that get spooked easily do not get richer. In fact, they make these fatal errors that can really shoot themselves in the foot. I do work with a couple of folks that went to cash, and where do you enter back in to the market? It's so tough when it screams now, what, 40, almost 45% higher, including today's number. So you're doing the right thing. All right. Housing is something that has been a concern with folks. This is a trending better type number as well. And this was, I think, almost 10% of mortgages were in some form of default during COVID, and that's walking back to a lower number. So in a way, that's good. There probably will be some people that'll be forced out of their homes, but with the unemployment paying almost 50,000 across the nation, unless you were really house poor to begin with, you should be able to make it through, which is good for all of us if there's not a big move down in the housing market. Yeah, big moves pre-market, darn near everybody's up. I found 2 names that are going short. We'll talk about those. Yeah, hotter than heck in Texas yesterday, so giddy up for the summer. Little tiff between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, which, billionaire tiffs are kind of fun to watch. I got to get on Twitter this weekend and follow these guys just so I can see it real time. But good times. Elon Musk calling out Amazon for basically being a monopoly and they need to be broken up. I don't know how that ties into this censure thing, but anyway, he's probably been wanting to say that for a while. This is kind of funny. Buy Disney with both hands. I've seen that from several folks out there. I do have some Disney as well. I'm not sure it's a screaming buy, but I do think it's a buy. Okay, let's go over to the TD Ameritrade board and we will look at the charts, which are popping up now. Again, this is the 1-year chart. You're looking at left to right, the big move up, the big drop from mid-February to March 23rd, and the move back higher. One thing I will note so this is the S&P 500 that you're looking at, and the S&P 500 was down yesterday. So when you look at this chart, why is this green? Well, that's how candlesticks work, which is confusing to a lot of people. And I should make a video and hang it on the website. So what that means is this is yesterday, this white space that you're looking at here. And then, of course, this is the pre-market, and this is the open that we're about to have. And this is beautiful. That's called beauty right here. The market's screaming up. But yesterday, when you look at where the market opened, so it gapped down overnight. But then from where the market opened to where the market closed was actually a move up. So that's why the candlestick is green. That's how candlesticks work. You can Google that and have a good time figuring that out. But that's why you're seeing the green. But when you talk about the few day history, if you can almost draw a straight line from here to here. We shall see, but certainly have some great news. Some other names. Look at that. Luckin Coffee, screaming higher this morning, has dropped down. I actually nibbled on some of this morning for realsies. Neo's another name. It's a Chinese. So both these are Chinese kind of small names that are going higher. As far as earnings, not much in the way of earnings on Friday. So we'll go back to here and we'll go up to the big board. I don't think I'm the last person to be on Twitter. I think my mom might be the last person. If she's on Twitter, you're right. Then yeah, buy Twitter, hand over fist. Okay, everybody, looking up at the Schwab big board, what we're looking at here is private equity investing. Now, private equity investing is different than the investing in private equity. So That didn't sound right. So what I mean there is you can go through the open markets and buy the common stock of private equity firms. That's kind of the best you can do until you're an accredited investor. Once you're an accredited investor, then some of the private equity / alternate investments, which I'll kind of explain how that works later, is available to you. But until then, this is the best you can do, is looking at the big board. You've heard me talk about Blackstone being the best in the business and a buy forever, you don't have to worry about it kind of stock. Well, there it is. We'll go to the website and look at it once we get to the Q&A session. Excuse me. Okay, BXMT is again their financial arm. That's mortgage trust out of Blackstone. So here you're thinking commercial and business mortgages, not residential. They do some residential, but it's mostly the business. KKR is another private equity firm. I don't consider them best of breed, but they are out there. I tend to think they're second best. The one over the right is Carlyle Group. And if you look at the KKR, Carlyle, and APO, which is Apollo, pretty much the same across the board. So you can see if you're in the individual names how much you've recovered, but if you go over to PEX, which is the index fund, then it hasn't recovered quite as much, if you will. So again, that's kind of the strength of being in the big individual names for those that are trying to figure out whether individual stocks are right for them or not for their long-term portfolio. So actually, let's go to the Blackstone page now, and I'll show it to you. So back to Chrome. And then what I'm going to show you now is the Blackstone Investor Portal. So scroll up a little bit so you can see all 5 black boxes. So what you're seeing right there is this is if you have onshore funds, which is most of us who have funds here in the US. You can see the different strategies that they have. The first one, the multi-strategy, is you're kind of buying in on everything. So that's why they call it a multi-strategy. Then they have private credit. This one I'm in personally. It has a 50,000 minimum. Most of these, if you see up here, well, it's on the next page, 250,000 minimum. So, and you have to be an accredited investor to get in. So kind of a adult way of investing, if you will. Real estate, again, that's where private equity kind of made their initial move, was into distressed real estate. So they would be the ones that, if you think the 2007 through 2009 time period, that's when if you bought your house at 500,000, you list it 350,000 and nobody's showing up. They'll show up and go, we'll give you like 130K for it, but it's cash in this briefcase right now if you want it. And so basically a distressed buyer of last resort. So they would snap up stuff, they'd wait for it to get cheap and then offer half of that. So I'm not sure that they're the nicest people in the world. I'm not sure I want to hang out with them or, play poker with them, but they certainly know how to make money, and they're the best in the business at doing so. Infrastructure, again, now starting to think commercial projects, that sort of thing. And then growth equity is almost their own little hedge fund, if you will. Now, if you happen to have funds offshore, which is not a problem I have, and I'm not like saying you should open up an offshore account just to have one, unless maybe you want to be cool at a cocktail party by saying you have one. But if you happen to have funds that are offshore that are not coming back to the US, there's also a way to invest them if you're offshore. So let's take a look at this real quick, because when you think of the returns on these things are amazing. So here you go. This one's 250,000 minimum. So again, probably don't have that in your pocket, but it's probably not right for you until your portfolio's well over $1 million to be able to put that amount of change away. But when you really look at how they are scaled across the world, you're like, okay, they're in about everything out there. And look at these returns. 15, 16, 14, BTAS 6. I don't know if BTAS 7 has updated the numbers, but BTAS 6 said in the BTAS, which is the Blackstone Total, what's the A? Asset Solution. That's what it is. Nope. Total, well, yeah, it is Access Solutions. Alternative Solutions, there you go. Is they've never had a losing year. Even in 2007, 2008, 2009, the BTAS crew has never had a losing year. So, and then of course the big years, they're up and around 30, 40%. So pretty interesting way to invest. it's varsity, no doubt. You have to be an accredited investor to get in, but it's certainly the way to go. All right, let's check the real quick back here before we start looking at short-term stuff. Okay, when you think of a day trade, again, which we're doing for fun, we have the daily day trading challenge, and which you can put a name in, long or short. It's going to be long today probably. And then the stop, and we'll talk more about that in a second. It's hard to fight this, right? So it's going to be hard to find something short, but we shall see. Okay, back up to the Schwab. We will look at our other tab there and see what names are in play. Some stuff I had written down from my pre-market study. LK, long. Go back to charts over here so I can watch that. LK is at 617 right now. So let's go to the new layout and hit LK in the upper left so you can see what I'm talking about. It's top of the volume, yeah, we're on the NASDAQ gainers, but top of this chart anyway. 48% gap up. That's a huge gap up. I don't like that, but I would consider Luckin is back now in favor as a long-term investment. So day trade it if you want, but long-term investment, I think it's legitimate. Again, it's back above $5 and their woes are behind them. Okay, let's go to the left tab there. Okay, American Airlines. Today would be one of those days where the airlines were beat up so bad to where, if from a trading perspective, I don't advocate owning them, but from a trading perspective, you could consider them long because a lot of money is going to flow in thinking the airlines are back. You know that they're over 50% capacity. Some have already said 65%. So it might be the jobs number today might be something that money continues to flow in. I wouldn't do that, but if you do that, consider. Out of picking the big three up there, I would pick Delta there just because it's gapped up less, and I also consider Delta the best of breed of the airline stocks of those three. And then LUV is another one you could consider. It's probably best of breed as far as management. Same applies to cruise lines. If you wanted to take a long trade in Carnival, hate the company, hate the space, but you know, the big move up today, you can see. As far as a short name there, the one that I found earlier is Slack, plenty of volume. It has a headline out there. Let's go ahead and double click that to the left side. So we're a gap and go type strategy, or if it gaps down, you're going to short it. This is almost a fill the gap scenario in my mind. So let's talk about it. Previous close is up at 37.94. It gapped down. It's down now at in the 31s. And so the announces multi-year agreement with Amazon. And you would think, okay, anybody that partners with Amazon, stocks screaming higher, right? When I saw the headline last night, right after the close, I think, it was like, you've got to be kidding me. Why is this stock on the way down after such a great headline? The concern is there, like kind of like when you deal with Tesla, is to even deal with those guys, they're putting the screws to you. So the thought is that Slack is giving up a ton of their margin by signing this long-year contract. So that's the thought. I don't like a continuation down here. I still think Slack is an amazing name. I do have some, so maybe can't see past my own bias there. But this is where, if you were in a fill the gap kind of strategy, which we're not in here, this is where you would actually take Slack, work long. You would have a big stop in that case. Of, even at $31, I would have at least a 50-cent stop, maybe even $1 to give yourself some room. Okay, let's look at some other names. We talked about that. What was the other one that popped up? Genius Brands. Click on that real quick. I want to say we saw that yesterday, and I didn't know what it was yesterday, and I still don't. So pass. All right, next tab. Boeing is another way. Boeing's been on fire. Okay, I mean, it's over 200. It's gone. It's still going. It's just long-term buy and hold kind of thing, or if you got out of it, you're back in it. I mean, it is literally screamed higher. It's crazy. So I wouldn't really day trade it though. Okay, let's move to the decliners. Okay, we talked about Slack being the biggest name out there right now that's declining. Click on Zoom, actually. Zoom's another one we've talked about in the room. I think there was a trade against it the other day, so consider what you want to do here. It is gapping down a little bit, so 5%, 210 down to 200. Easy to replicate would be the theory there, and even though their numbers, I think it was 169%, it was above their when they crushed earnings the other day. There's still really better products out there, Cisco WebEx, Microsoft Teams, but just nobody knew about it, so they bought Zoom. So you could take Zoom short. I'm going to keep an eye on that today. All right, let's go to the next tab. Yeah, smorgasbord of longs. The airlines, cruise lines, smorgasbord. All right, and then we already looked at the last tab there. Okay, let's go over to the rules on the Microsoft. So a couple new names that haven't participated before, I'd like to see participating today. So again, this is your set your risk unit, how much will you're willing to take. This is for the game today, so think about how you're going to enter your trade. What you're going to do is put in a stop. So pick your stop, $10, $20, $40 or something in between. But for our rules, the window's open now, so you can put your trade. Burner one, just put a trade in there. So that's how the format is. So you can put in like Apple long, $3, open at 3, meaning that's you open at the 3rd minute or close at 15. If you just say Apple long for 3, you get it at the open and it closes out 20 minutes later. If you want something short like IQ, you put IQ short 10 cents and close at the 5-minute point. So you can set your window. If that's confusing, don't set a window. Just pick a stock, long or short, pick a number that's somewhere between 10 cents and $1, and you are in the game for free to play. Okay. If you ever hit your stop on the 1R to the trade against you, then you're out. And if you're not stopped out, then you do have to be profitable by the end of the period that you choose. Winner will be determined by the total number of R units gained. I'll do the math. You don't have to worry about it. And here are some examples down at the bottom. So let's go over to the TD Ameritrade board and we'll populate it with the names. I was thinking about shorting Zoom too. Boy, I hate to short on a day like this. So I'm not going to because I'm smarter than that. So I'm not. So I'm going to put my trade over here now. And unlike yesterday, I'm going to type the correct symbol. Okay, so there's my trade, OIS. It's an oil name. We didn't talk about it today, but we talked about it yesterday. Kind of thinly traded, so it doesn't match perfectly, but I do like the oil names higher here too. So I'll stay clear of Zoom because Predator's in it and an airline. So that's what we have for our 2 trades in there. See some other names, kind of hop on in, throw a trade in there, and we've got 2 minutes before they open. Okay, so we have OIS. Low volume and down at there we go. So that's why you see a little bit of a sparsely populated chart. We got Zoom in the upper right. Again, that's going short for Zoom. And then we have Delta Airlines, again, the one I talked about. For being best of breed, that's going long. So let's look at so Burner's in at the bell. Predator's in at 2. And I'm in at 3. So we'll see how this this plays out. Volume on for the bell, please. Click back there and refresh. Also keep an eye on the overall market. I would expect to see all the long names continuing to scream longs. We're at 765, almost 3% in the Dow. NASDAQ's only up 0.66%. So again, it looks like this will be the greater market, those value names kind of catching up today. Yes, Spirit long 10 cents. Spirit is save is the ticker, SAVE. Nice. Let's put, yeah, let's give Geach some love. Let's put save up in the big board here since he took it at the open. All right, again, a little tough to tell where save opened there. So we'll pull it up on another screen. The open's kind of the hardest time to tell. All right, save opened at 25.06, so we'll draw a line there for you. All right, we're in the, and then 25.6, let's see, long. So yeah, you're right, 24.96. So don't need to draw that. It already dropped, so you're busted out there, Geach. Sorry, thanks for playing. Good news, it did not cost you much. So we'll kill save off the big board and go to back to OIS. All right, that's fun. All right, I mean, yeah, right price. So okay, we have. Let's see, burner long. Let's see what the open was on DAL. $37.20 for the open on DAL. It's going long at a 10-cent stop. So 37.10. It needs to hold that. Is that 1 minute today? Sure. Man. Let's bring DAL to the. We're gonna bring DAL to the big screen so we can see it. Okay, 37.20. So with the open, it appears yes, crash and burn. So let's not 37. So what was it? 10 cent, 37.10. Yeah, getting. So burner, thanks for playing. Have fun riding Delta Airlines. All right, let's bring Zoom over to the big board. Sorry. And, all right, so we had Predator at 2 minutes. We're looking short and out at 5. So 8:32 at 2 minutes. It's at the open. So are we at 2 minute? Yep, we're still at the 2 minute. It's going to be the open price at 2 minutes. Okay, so the open price at 2 minutes was down at right there, 199.10 or so for the open. And then let's see. Short Zoom dollar, so you would have had $1 to the upside. So what do we call it? 199.10 up to 210 would have been the stop to the upside. So that would have stopped you out, Predator, on the same bar at the 2 minute point. If you see what I'm doing there. If you want to, yeah, that went all the way up to almost 201 here during this this tick. That's a doji. That's not the volume. So Zoom is out. Let's take a look at OIS on the big screen. It appears you're going to be right long term. Okay, OIS, I said minute 3 for the open. So 1, 2, 3. Yep. So 7, what was that number? 758. And then I took it long with a 10 cents. It'd have to hold 748. It did not, so I'm out. So there you go. How about those for some busted trades? Let's put SPY in there. See how the market's doing. Okay, market's holding, so that's nice. Some other names we took a look at. Let's look at LK. Again, this would have been a long. Look at that, falling off a cliff. So bought some of that pre-market for myself, so you can blame me. That's a 1 minute chart that's showing funny. Yeah, I was gonna say something, okay. Click it on a 1 minute today. You can just re-click it and see if it changes. Ooh, LK maybe stopped. I think LK stopped out. So, so what happens is when you have a trading stop on LK, pull it up here and see if it says it stopped. So individual stocks can hit triggers. Yeah, trading halted. So is what I'm looking at on the, let's show that to everybody. Bring the share it out down here. So you don't see this often, but remember the overall market has triggers, and if it hits those triggers, you can get stopped out. What it does is basically it stops trading for 15 minutes. And the theory behind that is it lets everybody, all the algorithm, it kills all the algorithms. So all the computers that are doing these crazy trades, it stops all that. So here's what happened. It looks like this hit a limit down in the first minute there. So it was up 30, still showing 36, but whatever math goes into the system, and again, this is a computer, so it'll stop trading. We'll see when that resumes trading from there. So anyhow, that's what, and you see the big red banner, trading halted. You don't often see that. So, all right, let's go back over to the big screen. If you're in a day trade and trading gets halted, that is not good for you. You are completely at the mercy of whenever the trade opens back up, sort of thing. So, and it looks like it's going again. So check that out. Screaming back higher. So remember, if you were taking this short, that move from $5.50 up to $6, even if you had your stop set in at 10 cents, as soon as it hits that stop, it becomes a market order and gets filled wherever. So we'll keep LK on the big screen because that's kind of fun to watch. And I have skin in the game since I just bought it. Let's see. Let's in the upper right, let's go GPS. Remember, this was our play from yesterday. It was Gap Stores. It's been defying logic. It creeped up. We go to a 5 minute chart on Gap. So let's talk about what happened yesterday. Again, you had the lawsuit with Simon Property Group. And so it fell pre-market down. You have Simon Property Group on the bottom. So Simon Property Group sued Gap. They're overdue on rent. Was it 113 million a month? I think, like real money. So you have Gap. I'm going to get confused on the tickers again. Gap basically swimming upstream. So that's crazy. I don't know why that would happen. The only thing I can think about is even if people are selling the individual Gap stock, there's so much push in retail moving higher right now that the index fund could be dragging Gap up with it. So kind of a crazy way to view things. I do think it's a short long term, obviously, since I would have held it overnight and been wrong, but I still think it's a short long term. So go Luckin up to 630. All right. Let's see what's else on our list. We saw Delta. Let's check back to Delta. We can go on the big board. See how that airline's not doing too well. Let's go UAL. Yeah, they're probably all traveling together, and then AAL. So yeah, they got their big move pre-market, and then they're just kind of chilling. All right, and we talked about OAS. Another one I consider taking long is Dave & Buster's. Dave & Buster's ends up, it's play, P-L-A-Y, sorry. So it's up 16%. It had gapped up significantly. Obviously, Dave & Buster's, you have to be there, right? It's one of those entertainment, expensive, date night kind of things, but it's a great facility. But it's run up pretty good, and then it looks like it's selling off. So that'd be more of a fill the gap strategy, would have worked there. But don't recommend it long term. I used to own it back before all this stuff, but got rid of it and probably won't be back because it's too touch and go. Okay, we'll go back to LK on the big screen. just because I like to watch. Let's see. There we go. So after trading, it's moving higher. What's that? After it stopped out at 550, that's moved $1 a share. So if you had 1,000 shares of that, it's $1,000 move, right? Which is good. Okay, let's kind of go through the chat here. Okay, yeah. Considering shorts on Zoom, long TIFF. Hey, we haven't looked at TIFF. Let's put Tiffany in there. Again, this was the failed merger with Louis Vuitton. So, man, huge gap up, 8%. So there you go. It would not have worked as far as a trade. So I think, yeah, again, trades are better to the short side, and it's better when the overall market's down instead of swimming straight up. All right, let's see what else we have. Fake storefronts. I can't remember what the topic was. Or were we talking about Gap at the time? So anyhow, getting some assistance here. LK, yeah, fake storefronts. Yeah, we don't know, right? So, but I do think LK is back. I really do. I think it's probably going to be almost a straight line to $10 is my take. Even if, as people sort through what is real and what isn't real in the world, it's still a coffee store. It's still a high margin addictive product. It also sells tea over there in the Far East. So again, that's a big winner. So we'll see. But yeah, the lies and deception, maybe that would be a good Netflix special. Somebody should be producing that. Okay, genius, Children's Network stuff. Thank you. Now I know. Economy opens up, Zoom meetings go down. That's kind of a good thesis. I don't buy it, but I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't buy it because I think the work from home is here to stay. I think the bigger threat is that people discover that Microsoft Teams is a better product, and so is Cisco WebEx with less issues. So, yeah, my take. $10 flights, I know, right? Vegas opened yesterday. I sent this video out to some of you. If you watched it, it was the Caesar welcoming you to Caesar's Palace. So I consider, if Caesar comes back after being dead for 2,000 years and invites you to his palace, I think you got to go, right? All right, over to before we hit the Q&A, let's go back to the TD Ameritrade screen onto the long board. You have LK atop the leaderboard there. I'm tired to look at Tiffany, so let's bring LK back up here. This is jumping all over the place. So back down at 6. So there you go. If you have a day trading itch, I guess hop into LK with the other 4,000 people that are day trading it right now. Crazy. So also looking on the left there, those are some options for JP Morgan, Blackstone, Apple. You see Delta up 14 there. So now we're thinking long-term, thinking our portfolios, the important stuff. Boeing up over $200. Crazy, right? Yeah, it was below 100 like 2.5 months ago. LUV, that's Southwest. You have ExxonMobil. You know that I consider that the best of breed in the space. I consider it the strongest balance sheet. And the oil play going back above $40 a barrel is stabilizing. So if it appears that that's where we're headed, which means we aren't going to lose a major oil company, which is good. And everybody should be able to survive it, even the miners. The miner companies, not miners of oil. Okay, COP is ConocoPhillips, so big oil names. You got GE, Raytheon, Blackstone Mortgage Trust. We talked about that. So the financials are particularly sensitive to good jobs numbers and other economic numbers like that. So really on the move. ELY, guess what that is? Callaway Golf. Dude, golf is, I think we'll see, and talked about this a couple months back when I moved into Callaway, but that's not a name I would have considered. I had it in the past, long time ago, right? And it's kind of golf's one of those things that it's tough as a sport to kind of survive and put into question. And you had the Tiger Woods controversy, and it's just like a lot of headwinds until there's a virus, and then golf becomes the, hey, can't do anything else, let's go golfing, right? So big resurgence in golf. The retail numbers, I don't know when they release earnings, but I would imagine they're going to blow it out of the park there. You see Micron moving up 6%, Bank of America, ITA is the defense fund, VTR we always talk about is the healthcare REIT, Prudential's the big insurer, so wow, lots of stuff moving up. Let's take a look at the big losers today. So first of all, not that many in the red. MDB's MongoDB, and again, when you look at the overall market, if I can get a refresh there, the Dow is up big, so almost 3 points. The Nasdaq's up 2/3%. So Nasdaq, the tech names aren't moving nearly as much as the value names, if you will. Okay, you got Clickstream, smaller name, Neo, which is your automaker, Japanese EV maker. Have some of your psychedelic names. I'm always blank on that. Gold's on the move down, Treasury's on the move down, Activision, but not much. Netflix on the move down, 0.31%, kind of funny. Okay, go back to the longs there, and let's go over to the Q&A, and we'll take a look. How does RBC lift gap to target price to 13 after earnings negative 251 a share? Well, obviously they know something we don't, right? I don't know. I really don't. I would have to have read what they were thinking, because generally they'll put out like 2 sentences of justification, you know, on the, you know, frivolous lawsuit claims, like maybe Simon Property Group isn't going to receive that money, or they think since we're kind of in terms of bailout, maybe that would be a bailout situation where Simon Property Group can't really sue the tenants, but they could go to the government and request money, or they should have requested money as part of the big loans that were available, and so it was their problem and not the tenant's problem. I don't know. Good question. But yeah, the let's see, that's the top one. Yeah, look at it. Boom, up above 13. Well, no, it's down. I'm sorry, it's down at 1193 now. The high of the day was 1337. So it's starting to fade there a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on it. All right, good questions. Go ahead and close that out. Okay, so let's look at airlines lose money. Well, remember, so I'm back in the chat now looking at a question from Predator. Well, you're right. At full capacity, when life is good, the airlines have like 5 days worth of like free cash flow, right? So 9/11 highlighted that to everybody. So you're right, they don't make much. That's why I can't stand investing in them for the long term, because it's high capital, high maintenance folks that are air crew. No offense to them, but I mean, they're getting a heck of a wage, and they have good unions, and so that wage always goes up right until they get furloughed, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's not a money printer like Microsoft with their software, right? And then oil cheap, remember that's pretty much irrelevant for airlines, and that's because they have their futures contracts out so far. So it isn't completely irrelevant, because, you know, futures contracts are always being rewritten, but largely you don't see the short-term move. Now you might see in the market from an emotional perspective or a psychological perspective, but not from a balance sheet perspective. All right, busted on Zoom and TIFF. Yep, 3R on work. Let's put, that's Slack. Let's put work in the main screen here. All right. So work. Yep, that was a continuation. It was a gap down. So it looks like the work shorted there. So nice. So again, looking at Predator's number, if you risk 1R, and this is 2 days in a row, So you lose an R, you lose 1 R on Zoom, lose 1 R on TIFF, and you make 3 R. So you're actually up an R after all that. So, okay. 31.95 to 30.75. Yeah, nice, nice, sir. Well done. Okay, last stuff we'll talk about is accredited investor. So let's put LK back on the big board there. We'll talk a little bit about accredited investing. So first of all, what qualifies you as an accredited investor? You have to have $1 million portfolio. So, and that's investable assets. That does not include home equity. You can include investment property equity. So you have to get to $1 million somehow, or you can be a high earner. And by that is you personally make $200,000 a year, or you and your spouse make over $300,000 a year, and you've done that 2 years in a row, then you can qualify. Any financial institution can accredit you, so that's who does the accreditation. I do that for folks. So if you think you meet that criteria, you have to send me proof of it, unless I have it in the accounts I'm looking at. And then I put up an accreditation letter, which I keep on file, and then you can have it if you want. It doesn't really matter, but if you need to give it to your accredited, your financial advisor, or if you're going to go off into this on your own, then you need to have it on hand and be able to produce that letter. Qualified purchaser is the next step up. So qualified purchasers are 5 million and above. So it's kind of and the reason these are in place from the SEC is it's saving you from yourself. So like an IPO, you have to be an accredited investor to take place in an IPO. Why is that? Well, it's because you can get burned. Think of the Facebook IPO. People lost, 50% of their money off that IPO. Turned out to be a great long-term thing, but everybody moved in. Facebook's great. Moved from mid-20s up to 42 or whatever, and then completely crashed and burned. And everybody who bought in at the IPO lost money, went all the way down to 16 and change, I believe, is where I snagged some shares there. But you need to be able to handle that financially. You can't be sitting there with $200,000 to your name and get your fingers burned off on something huge. So that's why you can't even participate in an IPO unless you're accredited. Okay. Qualified purchasers, that next level of you need to really know what you're doing before you put money into this stuff. So when you think qualified purchaser, think the big projects that are out there where you're almost a partner in the project. Okay, you can click on that. An alternative investment is basically something that's not in the open market. So like anybody can log on, anybody can open an account, log on, and trade away on the open market. Again, primary market is the IPO. We all participate in the secondary market, which is the stock exchange. So this is stuff that's already been issued. Again, primary is the issue, which is the IPO. So the alternative investment, or like the Blackstone stuff I showed you. Now, when you enter into an alternative investment, you will sign there will be a PPM, which is a private placement memorandum. You send in your $50,000, you're sending it into Blackstone, and it's pretty much going into a black box. And when I say that, it means you have no visibility on what's going on. They send you a quarterly statement. It's only priced quarterly. It's not priced, every second or every tick according to the, just like the open market is. But you get it once a quarter. And when you think of how long do they have your money, generally 7 years is they'll put it, if it's 7 years, you won't lose money. And if you can hold it till 10, then that's the optimum. So how they take your money, if you think this is the 7 to 10 years, is they take money in, they call it in. So if you do a $50,000 commitment, they say, okay, first capital call is $15,000, have it wired in by this time. And you give it to them. And your statement says you own $15,000 of this, and you are on the hook for another 35. And you've committed to that. And then of course, as you call more capital in, those ratios change. But the total value of your investment is based off the whole 50,000. So that's what floats up and down. So kind of interesting there. they call your capital in and they start putting it to work. So unlike if you think of, they take your money, they buy a building with it, like Blackstone took private SeaWorld and Hilton hotels, redid them and re-IPO'd them. So that's how they made just a crud ton of money for folks. So if your money goes in and your money goes into Hilton Hotel and they re-IPO it at year 3, then instead of them giving you your money back, this is called internal rates of return, they take your money and they reinvest it in the next property. And even if that property is still undergoing by the time you're supposed to get your money back, you get somebody else's money back. It's not a Ponzi scheme, it's legit. But so your money can work for you the whole time, which is different from if you participate in something, you would go in with your friends on a business or a building or something. It's kind of finite, right? So that's how they always have this money coming and going, which is really pretty interesting. The next part of that is, well, what if I need to pull my money out because life happens, divorce, you lose half your assets, whatever. If you need your money back out, you put in a request and you can generally pull out up to 10% of your money any quarter, but they have a right of refusal. So if there's a run like in March and everybody in the world sends in their, I want my 10% out, well, they are only going to give up as much as they are legally required to, which is only a certain portion of the assets. So it protects you, even though you're pooling your money, which I don't like in general, it protects you from everybody being an idiot and selling low. People can only kind of leak money out low. Some close-end funds that are mutual funds work the same way, where you don't have the access to your capital when things are down. So you may or may not like that. But if you are rich enough to be invested in something like this, then you should not need that $50,000 for whatever reason, right? So, okay. That's kind of it on the alternative investments. If you're interested and you want to know more, I can let you know. Crypto's not an alternative. Let's go to the main screen. Okay, is at 6. All right, let's go to the main screen. Google crypto ETF. So we'll see if I can put eyes on here, and I don't know the name of it offhand. Crypto is not an alternative, but they have come up with some ETF. So let's see what popped here. CRCW. Let's just go up to crypto ticker. Okay, there's some names here. I like that better. We don't need to click on it. You can just leave it on this page. But when you look at the Bitcoin Investment Trust, Block is another one that I've had folks in when it first came out. That's more blockchain instead of crypto, but yeah, the technology versus the currency. Love the technology. It's like Google Sheets on steroids, but for some reason you put blockchain on it and everybody freaks out like it's something different. But, collaborative, everything's tracked, but this is anonymous, of course, but it's tracked but anonymous sort of thing. So it's not considered an alt from the protection standpoint, because alternate investments protect the retail investor from losing a lot of money. You can hop into crypto or any of these type of investments if you want, and make or lose as much money as possible. I will say though that I've read articles. I think Forbes had one that said if you invest in cryptocurrency, you just like 20x your likelihood of being audited by the IRS, because the coin wallets and the visibility and all that stuff. So if you want the IRS in your chili, then yeah, start getting crazy with crypto. Okay. Is there a legitimate use? Probably, yeah. I mean, if you're an international arms dealer or a drug dealer across international borders, I think Bitcoin's probably your best use. I mean, right? Can't track it. So I don't know. It's not something I want to be involved with because of all the sketchiness behind it. So that's it for today. All the trades busted. That's kind of weird. I think that's a testament to the market being abnormal as a whole with that big move up and the big jobs number. So I think that took normal patterns out. But that's what I've got. Again, if you want to participate, you need to go over and subscribe on a line for Monday. And I will send you guys out the information on Sunday, and we will go from there. See you next week. Have a great weekend.